Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at CustomJS callbacks with bokeh. Let's get started. So let's go on and create up a new file, and let's call this bokeh CustomJS, and let's call this 01 because we're going to have quite a few of these throughout the series. So the next thing that we're going to do is let's go on and get our standard imports. So from bokeh.plotting, import figure and show, and then we're also going to go from bokeh.models. We're going to import in here a tap tool. We want in a CustomJS, and then we want a column data source. Now let's kind of talk quickly about what's going to be happening here. So particularly this CustomJS. So in order for a widget to be relatively useful, okay, we have to give it some action to perform. So when we're using something like a bokeh server, it's going to be possible for us to have a widget trigger real Python code, which is going to be fantastic for some dashboards that we're going to have in the future. And then it's going to be also possible for us to really get in depth data. Okay, and we're going to have great interactive experiences with our users. So again, now we're starting to talk about a little bit of UX, so our user experience, etc. Now we can have widgets that are configured with CustomJS callbacks. Okay, that's what we have here, this CustomJS. So we'll actually be using a little bit of JavaScript. If you don't know a lot of JavaScript, that's okay. If you want to know a little bit more, we do have some introductory videos to JavaScript on the channel. Okay, look in our JavaScript introduction tutorial series, the playlist, and I'll probably put a link in it, probably in the description down below. And so let's actually, this is going to allow us to actually execute JavaScript kind of little snippets. Okay, and so we'll go on and get to that, and let's just make a real quick example. Okay, so first off, let's actually create up some data. We'll have x is equal to list range to 11, and then y here is going to be something like what? Let's just make it equal to x for now. So it'll be nice and easy for us to look at. We also want to create a callback here, and this callback is going to be just some CustomJS code, and let's just put the code, and I'm going to make it the most simple thing that you can do is just create an alert, okay, and it says something like you clicked a point on the graph. Okay, something very, very simple. And so what this will actually do is, if you guys have ever seen a little pop-up alert pop up, that's actually what's going to happen. It's just going to alert us that we actually touched something in the graph. And then so let's actually go on and call this tap, because again, we're using the tap tool. It's not necessarily a click, so maybe let's say you tapped a point. And so let's use the tap tool, and this is going to be our callback is going to equal callback. And again, we'll do a much more heavy coding session here in a minute, and we'll play with it in a second. So let's see, p is equal to figure. We want our plot width equal to 500. Plot height is equal to 500. And then our tools here is equal to tap. So again, if we also added in some hover tools, we could also add in our hover tools in here as well, and put it'd be part of this list in here. So let's do something like p.circle x is equal to x, y is equal to y, and then we'll do something like size is equal to 10. And then we'll do show p. All right, so this is just it looks like a very basic graph. Okay, so but if we go here and we click, you tapped on the graph. You tapped a point on the graph. So we can close, I can go, and notice here it highlights which one I clicked on. We can go and click over here. Oh, you tapped a point on the graph. Okay, and then it highlights that one. So this is going to be very useful for you if you want some sort of data to come up and pop up with them whenever they interact with something, okay, if that's something that your user wants or needs. So let's go on and maybe use something a little bit different. Again, we've already talked about some introduction to widgets, and let's maybe go on and maybe add a slider, okay, to this. So what do we want in here? Let me actually create a new one, and so let's call this bokeh CustomJS _02.py. And so from bokeh.plotting, we're going to import figure and show. We want in from bokeh.models, we're going to import in here our CustomJS. We want the column source data, and we also are going to grab in a slider. And this is going to be relatively fun, particularly, I don't know, I like it whenever I teach some basic economics or math classes or something. I want to show people how if we change some variable, okay, how the graph changes over time. So let's do something like x is equal to x multiplied by 0.005 for x in range, and we'll do 0 to 201, so from to 200. And then source, let's actually source out the data in here, and we'll do source is equal to our column data source, and data is going to be some dictionary. X is equal to x, y is also equal to x, so then it's going to be just a straight line. And then let's go on and do p is equal to figure. Here, plot width equals 500, plot height is equal to 500, and then let's go on and do p dot line in here, x, y, source is equal to source, and then we want our line width in here to say is 4, and our line alpha 0.6. Now what we're going to do is do slider. Let's actually create, let's call it a slide for now. Slider. And then let's say slider, and here we want it to start at 0.1. Here we want it to end at 6. Value is going to be 1, and our step size is going to be 0.1. And then we're going to title this power. Okay, so we're going to be doing exponents. And then let's go on and create our CustomJS. So update curve, okay, because that's technically what we're going to be doing here. And we want to go on and do CustomJS in here, and the arguments is going to be what we want, a dictionary here of source is equal to source, slider is equal to slider, and then we are actually going to create code, and I'm going to put our code, you know what, here, let's grab no, I want to keep that just like that. For now, this needs to be args. And I'm going to create up some JavaScript code here. And we're going to actually make this multi-line so that it'll be nice and clear for us to kind of play with. So if those of you aren't really comfortable with JavaScript code, again, please go and look at our basic tutorial series. And so we can do var data is equal to source.data. And again, so that's this source in here. It's going to be accessing it. And again, .data, we're grabbing in some piece in here. And then we'll do some variable. F is going to be our slider.value. Another variable in here, X, is going to be our data X. Excuse me. And then we'll also do a var Y. Here is going to be our data value Y. And then we also want in here for var is equal to var I is equal to 0. I want to make this into what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going in through a loop. So I is less than x dot length, and here we're going to I plus plus, and then we are going to go on and create yi such that math.pow for power is going to be xi from f, right? From the value f, yes, okay. And then let's go on to actually put in a comment in here. All right, this is going to mutate source.data, okay, in place. All right, that's actually what we're doing. We're actually mutating these values in place. And so this is going to be pretty fun to use. And so then here, since we called this JS code, we're going to go on and grab in here our code is going to be JS code. And let's do something like a slider.js on change. And we are going to have it grab the value, and we're going to use it on the update curve, which is grabbing in from our CustomJS function. Show here, and we want on the column, we're going to do the slider, and then we want the plot. So we'll have the slider up top, and then we'll have the plot down below it. And I have not imported column yet. So let's go on from bokeh.layouts. We're going to import column. Okay, and so let's go on and run this. All right, so now we see that we have our nice straight line. And let's zoom in just a tad. Okay, and now what's going to be fun is when we, my link didn't work. So let's go on and see what happened to our code. I think I probably, you know what? I know exactly what happened is because I was talking. And so this mutate in place, this is actually, I was having this in here, and we actually need this source dot change dot emit. Okay, because what's actually happening, all right, so we change the value, then we actually have to tell bokeh that we actually changed the value inside of this code, and we need to broadcast it out. We need to admit it out to the rest of the world. So let's rerun this, and now, whoops, it's still, let me refresh this. Are you not wanting to work now? All right, let me come back and let's debug this together. So what am I missing on here? Let's see, we have our value, we have our curve. Follow that back. Are you not liking that I put this in a separate variable? I don't think so. All right, hold on. Let's go on. Each of these work, but it's not linking. Okay, so again, we can put in these numbers in here and these values, and this is working here. All right, so let me pause here for just a second and let me double check what exactly went wrong, and we'll discuss it here in a second. Okay, so I'm back. My guess is probably some of you were just screaming at me the whole time, and it is because I was messing around. And look, I have an extra value right here. I typed in an extra character S. That definitely should not be there. Okay, and my guess is that I just was trying to do my bad habit, or my good habit, I guess, of always saving, and I just hit S instead of Command S. So if I delete this and I run this, it will go on and run. So notice here now we get to have this nice fun time in here to be able to play and mess with this this curve a lot, playing with the power or the exponent of the curve. And maybe something that you guys could try at home is do something like have it actually print out the actual value here whenever it's going, and so it would tell you what the power is or something like that. Say something like x to the blank power. Let's go on and do another example here of using some data selection. So let's do another one in here. Let's save this and do bokeh CustomJS _03.py. And let's go on and call this something like data selection example. Okay, and so let's go on and actually create up some random data. So from random, we're going to import random, and then from bokeh.plotting, import figure and show. And then we also want to grab some of our other standard imports in here and say something like from bokeh.models, we're going to import in here our CustomJS. And then let's see if we need to grab anything else. Let's grab in our custom data source, or our column data source in here. And are we going to want anything else? I think we're going to be okay for now, unless we want to maybe we'll grab a column or something like that, but I don't think so. So x here is going to be random for x in range here 500. Y is equal to random for y in range 500. And then we'll do something like color in here is going to be navy multiplied by our length of x. So let's go on and actually create up our data source. So let's do we're going to have two data sources in here, so we want to mess with something. So let's do D1 here is going to be column data source. Data here is going to be some dictionary of x is equal, x is equal to x, y is equal to y, and then we want color is equal to color. And then we want to actually create a figure in here. Plot width is 500. Plot height is equal to 500. Tools, all we're going to want in here is the lasso select. And then title is select here. So because what we'll do is we will highlight in one in one box, and it'll highlight data in the other box as well. So here we'll do p dot circle in here, x, y, color is equal to color, and then we'll do size is equal to 10, alpha is equal to 0.4, our source is going to be D1. And then here we'll do selection color. Here is going to be, let's make it stand out, fire brick. Selection alpha here is 0.3 to make it stand out. I think that will be good for this first section in here. And then let's go on and create up a new data selection in here, and let's do some, let's do D2 is going to be our column data source, and we want something a little bit different. So data is equal to some dictionary in here. X is equal to what? Oh, let's call this X. XM is 0, 0. So whoops. This is going to be 0. This will be 1. And then we also want what? YM in here is going to be 0.5 to 0.5. That looks good. So then let's go on and now plot this out as a line. X is equal to XM, Y is equal to YM. We want color in here to be orange so it stands out. Line width in here is going to equal 5. Alpha is going to be 0.6. Source is going to be D2. Then let's go on and actually create our callback in here, and this is going to be a CustomJS with our arguments in here is going to be a dictionary, and we want what? We want D1 is equal to D1, D2 is equal to D2, and then we are going to create our code, and I'm going to call this JS code in here, and then I'm going to go back and actually create the GS code up here because I like to have it as a separate section in here. So JS code, let's make multi-lined statement in here. So let's do var index here would be equal to D1 dot selected dot indices. Now if, okay, the index dot length, oh, and actually, you know what, let's put this as indices, okay, because it's actually grabbing all of those indices, is equal to 0. We're going to have it just return, okay, we don't want it to really do anything. Now var ym is equal to 0, for let's create a loop in here, is equal to 0. We want I less than the index length I plus plus to iterate through. Then we want ym plus equal to d1 dot data dot y, and we want it at that indice I for that first one. And then the next thing that we're going to want to do in here is divide out. So ym is equal to, we want to divide out by what? What do we want to divide out to? Let's do it the indices length so that it knows that. d2.data.ym is equal to now our ym. And then since, again, so this is the important part, since we have changed or mutated the source data, we must emit data. So then that would be something like, which one did we change? We changed in here the D2. So D2.change.emit. And that will help us actually grab everything back and send it out. So then the next thing that we want is D1.selected.js.on change. We want indices callback, and I want, indices why do I have an extra I in there? Indices callback. And did I accidentally spell that wrong up there? Is that why it's in my mind? No. Okay. So show P. So let's go on and take a look, and hopefully nothing went wrong. So what we're doing, okay, so let's kind of talk about this. What this part is doing here, okay, is we're basically grabbing up the mean, we're grabbing up the average. And so what should happen here is if I highlight an area in here, okay, from this scatter plot, a couple things are going to happen. One, it will change the value to some other color, okay, so I'll have this lasso here, I'll lasso it, it should turn it to red. This orange line here should move up or down depending on what the average is or the mean is of that data. So if I go here, notice it turned them all into red. Now if I let go, that orange line should move down, and it did not move down. So then something is wrong with our JavaScript callback in here. So if I do this, all right, so now we have a little bit of an issue here with this orange line. Okay, it is not wanting to move. It should be moving with us. Okay, so let's go back and see if we can maybe find out what is going on here. So, whoops, excuse me, there we go. Let's go on and move back. So let's see here where we actually had an issue. So it's with the linking, okay, because again, it ran and it doesn't seem like there was any problem otherwise. Okay, so a couple things. One thing that I don't like is that with this if statement, I would actually prefer to put this return inside here. It's not going to make any difference. It just happens to be preference. So we are grabbing in our data. So is it going to be, let's start out with the JavaScript and just double check, okay? So we are grabbing the selected data, the indices, right? Now, if nothing has been selected, it's not going to be a problem. Our ym is going to be 0. And then if we are looping through, oh, whoops, okay, right there. This is where the error is. Again, I have a tendency to eat letters, so this is one of our big issues in here. This is where we had the indices and I put IDS. Okay, so if we rerun this, let's double check. So we highlight and notice here, now it's auto-calculating as we grab. If I grab a small section up here, it is grabbing and it is moving it around. Here, we are moving it around again. So again, this is very nice to be able to do. Now, one thing that I would maybe challenge you guys to do is have it so that above this bar, it's actually going to show you the calculated mean. Okay, so it actually takes some sort of, it takes this value, okay, this ym value, and this mean value, and it's actually going to display it to see what it actually is at that position. So that's something that you could do. Again, you can make it maybe as a hover tool. So if you hovered over that selected area, it would actually tell you what it is. So let's maybe do, I know this one's getting to be a little bit long, but I would like to kind of finish up with some UI and UX events, okay, to kind of round everything out for our custom JavaScript callbacks. So let's go on and make one more in here. So save this as bokeh custom JS 04.py, and let's go on and do something like from bokeh.plotting. We want to import figure and show. From bokeh, we're going to import events. From bokeh.models, let's import our CustomJS. We want the div. We want a button. Okay. And then from bokeh.layouts, we're going to import column and row. What else do we want? From, not from. We also want to import numpy as np. And let's go on and create up some data. $2,000 multiplied by 100. Random.random. Size again is 2,000 multiplied by 100. And let's see here. Let's do p is equal to figure, and we're going to set up just the tools. Actually, I want plot width is 500. Plot height is 500. We want our tools to be a box select, and then p.circle. We want in here x, y, radius here is going to be 1. Fill alpha here is going to be 0.6. Line color is going to be none. So that'll be, they won't have that singular solid line around it. It'll just be kind of more of a transparent dot. Now let's make a div here. And what do we want in here? We want this to be width of 500. I want it to be the whole thing. Button, we're going to create a button. Button, not a bottom. Button. And we want this label equal, I don't know, something like click me. Okay, and then this one, we'll make it a big one, so width is equal to 400. Did I import button? Oh, and button. Really wish I would do these live so that I could see you guys screaming at me in the comment section. It would be a little helpful to me to track stuff down. So let's actually also create our layout. And this will be a single column in here. We want the button on the top, and we're going to create a row where we want in here p, we want our plot, and then we want our div. And again, what is with me in putting bottom in? All right, and then let's do what? We want a event with no attributes. Okay, so we're going to have our callback. So we do button .js .on event events .button click. CustomJS here. Whoops, this all needs to be inside. Our CustomJS in here, we want our args to be some dictionary with our div is equal to div. And then we're going to create two different custom JS attributes here. So let's do JS code 01 is equal to here, and this is just going to be something very simple. We want to grab in the div, we're going to grab the text, and we're going to say something like, hello there. Okay, and then let's go on and put something else. So let's put this here. The code is going to be JS code 1. And then let's go on and have something else happen here. So p.js. p.js.on event events dot select geometry. What are we wanting to do in here? Let's do something like CustomJS. The arguments in here, we want our div is equal, dictionary is div is equal to div. And then what else do we want? We want to set in our code in here. So we want code is equal to JS code 2. Let's go on and make JS code 02 is equal to, and I'm just going to put this in a line again. No, you know what? We need multi-line for this one. Okay. And I'll discuss this a little bit more once we get done with this. So we want to grab the div text, and we'll say something like what? You made a selection, and then we want to what? Let's actually put this inside of a paragraph tag so it looks a little bit prettier. And then do p, cut out p, and then we're going to add in from JSON string ify, thank you, cb underscore, we want the cb object dot the geometry, and if it's undefined, otherwise 2. All right, and so let's give this a bit of a show here. All right, so that's working there. And what else we want? We want show layout. All right, and let's give this a try. All right, so first off is click me. Oh, hello there. Okay, so we get this nice little bit. Now we should, if we highlight, it's going to highlight. Now, did that actually work the way I wanted it to? Let me double check on something really quickly. Why is that? So what I was actually missing, guys, was that I forgot to put this inside of a string, because here I'm using this addition sign in here, and I forgot again that I'm actually creating this as inside. Again, for me, it's a little bit difficult. Whenever I see these strings, I know that this is a string, but I didn't actually finish writing out the string. So let's rerun this, and it should give us back some data in here. So look, you made a selection in here. It's giving us information and data that's stored inside here. And what would be nice is if you took this data and maybe you put it out in a nice, easy to read format for your user, and that's something that I kind of challenge you guys to do. So try and give this, take this dictionary or JSON type data and put it into a nice clean format, and let me know. Okay, so again, here we added these in clicks, and then here we grab this so that, oh, you made a selection, and it's going to give us back some data. And again, that's using in here geometry selection, so that's giving our selection. And our CustomJS in here, one is we're changing this div text to say hello there when we click the button on this button click. And then here we are adding in here we have this paragraph tag to create a paragraph and say, oh, you made a selection. Then we are making a JSON and we're stringifying it, and we're grabbing in this object in here of the geometry text data, the actual data, and again we're grabbing in the second object inside of that otherwise. So if you guys like this, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.